Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Katanya Alvin. This is a wonderful video called Warring Angels Over the Polling Stations. And this is Bill Still who brings this to us, and it's wonderful. So, and Glenn Kennedy posted it on before its news, which is great. Thank you. And here Bill Still puts up on his post, he will send forth his angels with a great trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from the one end of the sky to the other.
Good Sunday morning. I'm still reporting on the warring angels. I'm pretty skeptical when it comes to people seeing visions, especially of angels and the like. But this is a story about me seeing a vision. It happened last Friday, and I just wanted to mull it over for a couple of days to be sure I wanted to put myself out there in this way. But in balancing this out, it would not be doing you any favors to keep this powerful experience to myself. So here goes. For the first time in my life, I went to early vote on Friday. I went down to my assigned polling station, which was a big old community center, you know, the ones that were built in the late 1950s as schools. It was pretty much a basketball gym with schoolrooms built around it. I arrived well before noon. I wanted to avoid any rush of folks taking off early for lunch to go vote because I had heard that early voting was strong around the nation. When I arrived, I took a Republican sample ballot because we are new to this area and I didn't want to get it wrong. I was going to vote straight Republican this election. I discovered that in two local races, the desperate Dems were running vote-splitting candidates. Dems disguised as Republicans who didn't have a chance to win, but whose only function was to divert enough votes away from the real Republican candidate so that the Democrat could win. I don't usually take sample ballots, but I'm glad I did, or I would not have known about this. I walked in hoping to vote in a couple of minutes and then go back to work. What I saw next floored me. Once inside this building, there was a line to get into the gym area to vote that ran all the way down one hall and back up the other side, at least 50 people long. This was going to take an hour to vote, so I turned around and headed for the car. I've been a poll watcher on and off since I was 18 years old. After the morning rush, there were no lines at polling stations until maybe a little bit of a line during lunch. The biggest lines were after work when people got off in the evening, but even then, waiting for an hour was a newsworthy event. As I got back into my car, I felt this overwhelming pride in my fellow Americans for really getting out there at this time of day to strike a blow for freedom. I started singing God Bless America, but suddenly this feeling deepened to something I will never forget. I saw a vision of God's warring angels. I'm saying warring angels hovering over that community center, wrapped in dark swirling clouds, the whole bit, a vision from heaven. They didn't have wings, or maybe they did, but I didn't know. That didn't matter. It wasn't important who they were or what they looked like. The important thing was that they were mad and they had come equipped to do full-on battle to protect America. There were 4 or 5 in the lead group standing around in a semicircle over the community center, but the Archangel Michael was the leader, and he was clearly not happy. This was a very serious matter, and there was the sound of conflict and rushing waters, and behind the lead angels were the 1 million Americans who had died for America, all shouting support in one giant tumult of sound and smoke and fury. These were people who had given their lives, not because they were conscripted into battle, but because they believed in this concept, freedom, and the land sanctioned by God Almighty to be the leading land supporting human freedom, the United States of America.
And that's in your, the Stars and Stripes. Oh, say, can you see? in the dawn's early light, and it was is the flag still flying? Wonderful, wonderful words of Key.
I can't point out too strongly that these people had all died for a concept, and they were all shouting, and they were all angry, and that was the most surprising thing to me. These guys were not just unhappy, they were ready to swoop down out of that cloud and come down here and blitz this place. And there was no doubt in my mind that they could do it. No doubt whatsoever. Their power was like 2 orders of magnitude beyond the combined powers of the entire world full of puny men. This was the first time I had ever experienced the awesome power of God's heavenly host. Tears were streaming down my face, and I was intermittently sobbing as I was driving away from that place, yet the vision persisted. I really shouldn't have been driving. They were hovering over every polling station in this nation. They could be everywhere simultaneously, even though they were overwhelmingly powerful compared to us humans.
They were hovering over every polling station in his vision. Isn't that wonderful?
They were holding back. They were there protecting the polling places to some extent, but they also wanted to see what was going to happen, see if we were going to learn what it took to make America free and what it would take to keep it that way.
Exactly. Take action, to take that action.
It's important to note that they did not know the outcome of Tuesday's election. Apparently that was only for the Father himself. Surprisingly, it seemed like the Trump victory was not nearly as important to them as was this critical turning point in this nation's history. And they just wanted me to know, perhaps only to pass it on to you, my audience, just how critical this was to them.
Trump is with his trumpet at the head, but it's up to every single person, not just in America, but very much you're in the prime position, but also us who see that here we've got the opportunity of freedom in the world. And so from London or from any other country, those people that realize the importance of this election and that it's red.
And you just can't imagine the cacophony of sound and fury in the background from this group of at least 1 million warriors in the background, framed by dark swirling clouds.
And also to know that you've actually made that effort, you've done that act. That's something that will stay in your soul, in your heart for your life.
They gave me no instructions other than to say something to my wife. But I did get the sense that I was supposed to pass along to you, my audience, the absolute ferocity of their anger and disgust over the current situation and their absolute determination to do something about it. They were dumbfounded that this nation had wandered so far away from its purpose that half of us don't even remember what that purpose is. This has got to change.
The Americans came from the founding fathers, leaving the shores of one of the most despotic governments or places, the City of London, that had been established from the Roman Empire, and that is what you Americans have done. God bless you.
Or they can step right out of those clouds and wipe us off this earth. So great is their power, and start all over again if they have to, or something like that. I don't want to overinterpret what I saw. Again, they did not know the outcome of Tuesday's election, and they gave me no other interpretation other than just a comment that I was supposed to pass on to Beth.
Bless you, Bill Still, for doing that. Fantastic. And I honor you also for the Money Masters, the couple of documentaries that you made. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So search those out, guys. Thank you, Bill Still, for all you've done. I'm getting to the end of the 10 minutes, or up to the 10 minutes. This is Catania Alvin with this wonderful message. Get out there and make that place red.